This week on Business Mike, the business of freelancing. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 15.5 million people in the United States were self-employed by May last year. That number is expected to increase with 40% of the American workforce, or roughly 60 million people, being independent workers or freelancers by the year 2020. One man that's taking advantage of this particular trend is Balina. He's my guest on today's show and the founder and CEO of Peer Hustle, a mobile on-demand freelancer marketplace for the sharing economy. In today's show, Ian will share with us how his app, Peer Hustle, is helping freelancers find more work in their particular communities. All this and more next on Business Mike.
You're listening to the Business Mike podcast. Amazing interviews with inspiring entrepreneurs. Subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher Radio for a brand new episode every Monday.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Business Mike. Hope you're well. My name is Daudi Mugabi and today I'm joined by Ian Balina. He's the founder and CEO of Peer Hustle. Ian, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Really looking forward to it.
Right. Why don't you start us off by briefly telling us about yourself and what you do?
Okay, so my name is Ian Balina. By background, I'm a computer engineer. And right now, I'm the founder and CEO of Peer Hustle, which is a mobile freelancer marketplace. So think Uber for freelancers. I also, by day, work as an engineer at IBM. And I'm a very active entrepreneur. I have an importing company where I sell batteries from China on Amazon. I'm also into short-term real estate rentals. So I like to think of myself as a tech evangelist and entrepreneur.
Right. And you mentioned that you're running several businesses and also employed as well. Can you just briefly tell us about how your entrepreneurial spirit started?
Oh, wow. So I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I learned that in fourth grade when I moved from Uganda to America. It was my first time in America, and trying to adjust to everything, I was able to essentially just discover that I had this entrepreneurial, or as I like to call it, hustling mentality, where I was able to turn nothing into something. So no matter what things I had, I was able to turn those into something even better. So I discovered this skill set as a kid when I was 9 years old. And my first business was probably around middle school and high school, was making websites for my family and friends. So I had an uncle of mine who had a school, so I was very tech savvy, and I was at that point in time I taught myself how to build websites. So my uncle wanted a site for his school, so rather than hiring somebody like a big company or a big firm, he chose to hire his nephew. So that was my first time as a business owner, so to speak. So that taught me a lot, and ever since then I've always had this mindset of trying to be very entrepreneurial. As a kid, I looked up to mavens out there like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs. All those people I looked up to. So as a kid, reading all these different stories about them, I told myself one day I want to be up there on their level as a tech titan. So right there from the outset as a kid, that was my goal, was to climb all the way up there and build a very amazing tech company that people could enjoy and love to use. So as a kid, that was my goal. So in terms of my entrepreneurial spirit, that's where it grew up from. So all the way through college. In college, I went there and still kept on building websites for people. From there, I built my first tech startup, which was Leximo. That was actually a multilingual social dictionary. So think Urban Dictionary, but for real words, not just slang, and it was in a visual manner. Then from there, I ended up finding work after grad school, but I still had that entrepreneurial bug. So I ended up founding Peer Hustle. In between there, I learned how to make videos, and I was able to turn that into a video production company that I do as a side hustle. And also in between there, I was able to learn how to sell products on Amazon using Amazon FBA. So one thing I've learned all throughout this process is everything has been self-taught. So going back to that hustler mentality, I've been able to go out there and learn new skills and then actually monetize those skills into different avenues to bring in income.
Very many people actually have various skill sets, just like you mentioned. For instance, in your case, you're a programmer and you're a videographer, and you also happen to know how to use Amazon to sell products. So when it comes to having different skills that are potential business ventures, how do you then set up a company that can grow and scale, especially when they're in different fields? For instance, your video company, Fusion Videos, and the battery business, as well as the real estate business that you're running, how do you, can I say, wrap your head around all these? What role do you play in each one of them, and how do you juggle them as an entrepreneur?
So I would say I'm the lead role, and for the most part, also the only role. Towards the last couple of years, I've been able to juggle all these by hiring other freelancers. So, for example, with a video production company, at first it was just me, but then I brought in my brother, and now we're at a point where me and my brother film the videos. Then I have an editor who's all over the country. So some days he's in California, some days he's in North Carolina. But I just film the videos and I transfer the footage to him via Dropbox. Then he edits the videos for me, and that saves me lots of time. So I'm able to focus on other things. So I've been able to minimize my time by trying to practice using the philosophy of the 4-hour work week by outsourcing to other people who can help me and who are actually a better qualified and have better skills. So, for example, with the editors, this editor is an amazing editor. He went to USC, which is kind of like the Harvard for film school. So he's able to edit videos a lot better than me. So that frees up my time and also gives me better quality work.
With regards to actually starting these businesses, they're all different industries. What kind of thing do you look out for before starting a business? For instance, videography is very different from selling batteries, and that's different from real estate. Right. So how do you decide that, okay, at this point, I want to start a business in this particular sector?
So for the most part, it's usually hearing other people's success stories. So, for example, with the battery company, I saw a video on YouTube and a blog post about how people were making money on Amazon. So I watched a video, it was a 3-hour video, and they broke down how this guy was able to start a business on Amazon and was making over $1 million. So I've always thrived on being somebody who takes action, because I believe action is the name of the game. Most people don't really achieve the success they want because they never take action. They're always waiting. They're always hesitating. So to me, I view hesitation as something that's not good. So once I watched the video, I was like, okay, let me just dive right in and try it out. If I fail, I fail. At least I learned something from it. So after watching the videos, they broke down how to go out there and pick a product. So I didn't really pick the battery as a product. It was more the batteries chose me. So from doing my Amazon analysis, I saw that batteries were in demand and they had a really high sell-through ratio, which means that lots of people wanted to buy the batteries, but there weren't that many suppliers. So from doing my own math and Excel spreadsheet, I discovered that there was a huge opportunity for selling batteries. So using the Amazon FBA route, I found suppliers via Alibaba. So I contact them and I buy in bulk. Then I sell them on Amazon. So the first thing I did was buy samples, and the samples were selling like hotcakes, and the rest is history. And the same thing can be said about the real estate. So I actually do Airbnb rentals, and that was also from actually reading somebody's blog post about some guy in Las Vegas, how he was able to make, I think it was 1/3 of his mortgage in the first year from just listing his apartment on Airbnb. So just from reading that blog post, I once again dived right in and found myself a condo, an apartment, and just began putting it on Airbnb, and the rest was history, and I've been doing that ever since.
And your current business, Peer Hustle, definitely ties into the discussion we had earlier, because when you mentioned the video company, for instance, you had to hire people to help you out with that. And that's exactly what Peer Hustle does. Could you just shed a little more light on what Peer Hustle is and who it's for?
Right. So Peer Hustle is trying to tap into the on-demand and the sharing economy, because sites out there like Uber help. I've gotten people and allowed them to monetize their time with their cars. So your average Joe or Jane can get their car and make some extra side money by driving other people around. With Airbnb, it lets you, the average Joe and Jane, rent a room in their house or rent the entire house and make some extra side money. So these apps in the sharing economy allow us to leverage our resources like our houses, our cars. But I figured that our biggest resource our skill sets and our minds. So there are lots of people out there who can use other people's skills, but they don't necessarily know how to find them, or the people who have the skill sets don't necessarily know how to start their own business. So going back to my story, when I was a kid, I was building websites for my uncles and my family. I was just a 13, 14-year-old kid, right? But my uncle didn't really want to hire a full-fledged agency or design agency to build his website. He just wanted somebody who was competent and skilled enough to build a website, whether it was the kid down the road who knew computer skills and could build the website. So with Peer Hustle, we're building a skills marketplace that shows you local freelancers in your area who have particular skill sets. So you simply go in the app and search for any skill set you'd like, whether it's web designer, photographer, writer, marketer. It will show you local people in your area who have their skill sets and their profiles, and then you can contact and ping them almost in the same way you contact somebody on Airbnb if you want to rent a room or a house. And you go there, it has their profile, their reviews. It has built-in escrow payments inside the app. We have built-in video and audio chat inside the app, so if you want to call them and just work remotely, that's available as well. And coming soon in version 2.0 is we'll have portfolios under profiles. So we're trying to create a skills marketplace where whether you're a client who wants to hire somebody locally in a matter of minutes, or whether you're average Joe or Jane who wants to make some extra side income by monetizing your skill set, we're bringing those two sides together and creating one unified marketplace.
Right. And how does Peer Hustle differentiate itself from other websites that offer similar service, such as 99 Designs or Elance and things like that?
Right. So, for example, with 99 Designs, that's purely a website, and that's purely for designers. With Peer Hustle, we're solely a mobile application, and it's solely based on your geolocation. So wherever the person is, that's where their address is. So, for example, if you're a photographer and you're, let's say, in Washington, D.C., and you hop on a plane and travel to Uganda, you'll ping everybody in Uganda that you're a photographer who's open for business. So you don't have to do any remarketing. You don't have to do any re-advertising for your business. Wherever your phone is, anybody can find you in that location as somebody who has that skill set. So it's based purely on your location.
Right. And how spread out is this application? Are you everywhere in the United States or just a few?
So right now we're all over the country in the U.S. in the U.S. And in the second version, we'll expand to globally.
I just want to touch on the point you made about the power of mobile. I've seen in a few other interviews you've done as well that the mobile platform is one that is being underutilized, particularly by people who are creating businesses. Because when I was looking at the statistics, the average amount of time spent consuming digital media, 51% of that is on the mobile phone, and things like desktops and PCs come in at 42. So that definitely shows a huge opportunity there for the mobile usage, which you've obviously taken advantage of.
Right, correct. Yes. So with Pre-Hustle, we definitely noticed that was the trend. That's the trend where the future is going, especially in the developing world and emerging markets. Mobile is the future because computers they're heavy, they're bulky. Mobiles are mobile, they're easy to use. They have a wireless connections. So we feel like by being able to build the first freelance mobile marketplace, we'll be able to tap into that trend.
Right, and also obviously as we develop technology further and further, people are picking up more skills because at this particular point in time, you have way more people that can develop a website than there were maybe 5 years ago, and the same applies for graphic design and so many other skill sets.
Exactly, yes, yeah. So right now, as the world is becoming flatter, anybody can go out there and teach themselves new skills. We have lots of free resources out there on the web, so whether it's YouTube or online courses, anybody out there who wants to teach themselves new skill sets, it's a lot easier now than it was in the last couple of years.
Right. You've had a very, very incredible entrepreneurial journey, founding very many companies, but what would you say is your favorite moment so far?
My favorite moment, I would say, is starting off with just an idea, then working all the way through it, and seeing that idea materialized into reality. So whether it's, for example, with Peer Hustle, it's just plotting the idea on napkins then 10 months down the road, seeing that app actually in the App Store, and people all over the country and soon to be the world are downloading that idea I had on my napkin.
Right. And what piece of advice would you share with the listeners that you've perhaps learned from your experience?
Whatever idea you're thinking of doing, just go ahead and do it. Don't think about it, just dive right in. People hesitate and they miss out on so many opportunities because they're always wanting or waiting for the perfect moment. It's never the perfect moment. The moment becomes perfect after you dive right in and get reference experience and get real-world feedback.
Right. How long has Peer Hustle been in existence?
So it's been in existence for about 11 months right now, so almost a year. We launched in October, and I had the idea last year in April.
And currently it's only on the Apple Store?
Yes, right now it's only in the Apple App Store, but we have plans to expand to Android.
What are your future plans for Peer Hustle?
So I would say world domination. So definitely going global and expanding and making it a big company, as huge of a company as I can, and hopefully changing the world. Maybe even doing an IPO down the road, if that's something that's possible. But definitely my plan is to grow it into something big where anybody out there in the world can go out there and monetize their skill sets and make some extra money.
Right. Let's take a very quick break and we'll be back with a segment called The Trivia Lounge.
No matter how hard it is, no matter how difficult the journey, no matter how many challenges or barriers or obstacles you come up against, never give up, because if you believe in what you are doing and you believe in the company and the brand and the business that you're building, never give up, because at the end of the day, those women, in fact any entrepreneur that makes it and builds a successful business down the road, they've done it through sheer hard work, grit and determination, and there's no substitute for it. And in actual fact, it's one of the key foundations that you build an entrepreneurial venture on.
For more amazing interviews, go to www.businessmike.com or sign up for our weekly newsletter by simply sending an email to subscribe@businessmike.com.
Welcome to the Trivia Lounge, Ian. I'm going to ask you 5 questions within your industry and we'll see what score you'll get. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. It sounds really interesting.
Okay, the first question is, Siri, the famous voice on several Apple devices, was inspired by which movie? Was it Total Recall, Breakfast at Tiffany's, or 2001: A Space Odyssey?
I would say 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yep, that's absolutely right. It was inspired by that computer in the movie called HAL that tried to kill everyone on the spaceship.
All right.
Question 2 is, which of the following apps had the most number of average unique users in the year 2015? Was it Gmail, Facebook, or Google Maps?
Oh, wow. I would say Facebook.
Yes, it's Facebook. It actually had it had 126 million users unique in 2015. Right, you're doing very well, Ian. This is question number 3. Which of the following emerging devices is the most commonly used to do searches on the internet? Is it the smart TV, the smart watch, or the smart wristband?
Oh, wow. Smartwatch?
No, it's actually the smart TV.
Really?
Owners
Okay.
of the smart TV, 34% of them do searches on the internet.
Okay.
So you're a fan of the NBA. I read that in your profile.
Yes,
Is
I
that
am.
right?
Yes, I am. I'm a huge NBA fan.
Right. So in what year was the NBA founded? Was it 1945, 1958, or 1946?
1946.
That's absolutely right. It was in June 1946. And it was actually called the Basketball Association of America until 1949 when it was rebranded to the NBA. Well, the final question is, Upwork, which is formerly known as Odesk, did a survey from their database, and they found the following skill to be the most popular amongst freelancers. Was it data entry, graphic design, or PHP development?
Oh, wow. Data entry?
The correct answer is actually PHP development.
Wow.
I was surprised by that one because personally I thought it would be graphic design, but turns out PHP development is the most popular, although graphic design is a very close second.
Right. I mean, I feel like PHP is becoming almost obsolete in a way.
Yeah.
Besides for WordPress, WordPress is kind of keeping it in business, but other than that, it's kind of being replaced by other skills. But okay, that was a tough one.
Well done to you. You got, 3 out of 5. So that's not bad for the Trivia Lounge.
All right. That was good.
Right. So if you were cast away on a desert island, what movie would you take with you? What book would you take with you? And what song would you take with you?
Wow, those are tough questions. What movie would I take with me? I would say Casino, the movie with
really?
Robert De Niro. It's an old school for me. I like the whole movie, the whole concept. I like De Niro as an actor. He's one of my favorite actors. So definitely that. In terms of books, I would take Winning Through Intimidation by Robert Rinker. It's an amazing book, by far my favorite book of all time and best business book I've come across in a while. And in terms of song, wow, that's a really tough one. I'll probably take Bob Marley, Don't Worry. To just keep me relaxed on the island.
That's a very interesting choice. Well, thank you so much, Ian, for your time. It's been an incredible discussion with you. And can you just remind the listeners where they can find out more about yourself and your businesses on social media or a website?
Right, so they can find us on our website, peerhustle.com. That's PEERHUSTLE. You can also find us on the Apple App Store by searching for Peer Hustle. You can download the app, create a profile, and start monetizing your skill sets or hiring other local freelancers in your area. And thank you for having me on the interview. It's been a great experience.
No, thank you, Ian, and we wish you the very best with your businesses.
All right, thank you. You too.
Thanks for listening to the Business Mike podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to listen to more episodes just like this one, simply go to businessmike.com. I would love to hear from you. So if you've got any questions or feedback, you can reach me on Twitter at Daudi Mugabe, on Facebook at BusinessMike, or email. That's daudi@businessmike.com. Don't forget, we have a brand new episode every Monday. And until then, take care.